Final Fantasy VII Remake locks hard mode behind beating the game. I don't like when games are easy, and I wasn't about to replay a 40-hour RPG just to start achievement hunting. So, I installed a mod that unlocks hard mode immediately. That worked right up until Chapter 3, where the mod decided it was done being my good friend and decided it was going to become a kleptomaniac, break into my inventory and steal all my items. Chadley hands me an assess materia, gone. So instead of giving up and being normal, I decided to keep playing because I'm clearly the smartest person in this room and totally not currently suffering from self-inflicted Stockholm Syndrome. So now, the game is an amalgam beast of mods trying to rip my spine out, break every remaining bone in my body, and skullfuck me into the dirt. Enemies now have triple HP, they hit harder, they're more aggressive.
Help me, bitch!
Hard mode also disables items, so we're gonna do that too. You can shove those items right up your pee hole because from now on we're wearing women's clothing. No pockets for us. And somehow, this ended up being harder than actual hard mode, all for 63 achievements. Here's how that went. "63 achievements and we're on the board before the first body even hits the floor." They even named them this time. Staggering Start has a 94% unlock rate, by the way. Our first achievement has a 97. Somewhere out there is a person who killed 2 enemies, put the controller down, and never came back. If you're still here, you're already doing better than the 3% of people with the attention span of dead flies. We'll earn our next achievement by cosplaying Sephiroth. What can I say? Fire and flesh don't mix. We keep up with the team and combat feels incredible. My only complaint is that dodging has the defensive properties of wet toilet paper. No iframes, and because of the mod, every enemy is built like a brick shithouse. Especially the dogs. If you've played hard mode, you already know what I mean. If you haven't, try imagining fist fighting a cocaine-fueled blender. As we make our way through the reactor, Barret finally decides to stop being dead weight in hell.
Here it comes!
Now, normally I'd rip the lightning materia right out of his gun arm and jam it directly into our Buster Sword, but unfortunately, the game hasn't unlocked menus yet. So, Barret's our healer.
God help us all.
Our first real obstacle isn't even a boss. It's the Sweeper, mainly because party AI in this game has roughly the same intelligence as a concussed goldfish. The second that robot locks onto Barret, he folds like some cheap lawn furniture. From here, we just head to the reactor like normal, though things aren't gonna go exactly like they did in the old timeline. For now, we have our first boss, the Scorpion Sentinel. This boss normally has 9,500 HP. Mine had 30,000, so what would be a warm-up boss turned into a 10-hour custody battle over my sanity. Every time I got close, the stupid thing found a new way to ruin my day. Over the next 10 hours, I learned 3 things. Barret's an idiot, this boss was designed by Satan, and missiles are my worst fucking enemy. The one upside before we get into it is getting grabbed by the Scorpion Sentinel unlocks bonds of friendship. Have a party member rescue you, and that's achievement number 4. I'm mentioning it now because after 10 hours of attempts, I earned it several times. Me and this robot were close. I consider it a transformative relationship. Can't believe all I got for that was 1 achievement. 59 left to go. Trust me, this will speed up really fast. The tiny achievement-shaped consolation prize does not actually make up for the hours of my life I'll never get back, but hey, the game's still great. After dozens of failed attempts, enough lightning magic to power Midgar, and 1 robot scorpion that refused to die, we finally reach the barrier phase. You know what fixes a giant mechanical scorpion barrier? If you guessed Buster Sword Enema, then congratulations. You're either psychic or deeply unwell. Seriously, how would you even guess that word for word? Either way, the barrier breaks, and we beat the brakes off this thing. 2 Bravers from Cloud, 2 Lightnings from Barret, both limit breaks, and it just barely won this fight. When I say the victory cry I let out was loud enough for my neighbors to tell me to shut the hell up, I really mean it. Beating the Scorpion Sentinel also earns us Barret's first manuscript because apparently he's trying to write his terrorist manifesto. We'll be collecting 1 from nearly every boss going forward. Fortunately, or unfortunately, the game isn't quite done with us yet. Jesse's bomb works perfectly this time around, so Shinra has to blow up their own reactor to keep the timeline on schedule. It's a really subtle change, but one I definitely like. What isn't so subtle is the second fucking sweeper they throw at you on the way out. At this point, my entire party was being held together by healing magic and whatever adhesive keeps instant noodles inside the cup. Somehow, even with Barret letting the robot give him dental surgery with bullets, we make it out. Clearing the chapter unlocks 1-time gig, and my achievement family has grown by 1 healthy baby boy. Chapter 2 decides to show some mercy. 2 achievements and no real bosses. Comparatively, a walk in the park. A walk in the park that's on fire, but still, at least there's more I can talk about this time around. For instance, we get our first look at Sephiroth. My favorite theory is that this is the Advent Children's Sephiroth trying to rewrite history through the livestream. Whether that's true or not, I don't really care. This scene's fucking awesome. The fact that we get to see Sephiroth this early is one of my favorite changes in the remake. Who doesn't love the one-winged angel himself? We actually watched Advent Children in my Discord recently. If you want to join for future movie nights, the link's in the description. Shameless self-promotion out of the way, we meet Aerith now, much like we did in the original game, except now Cloud sees these weird cloaked figures everywhere. We'll get to those fuckers soon enough. A few new enemies are determined to be really annoying, namely these assholes with riot shields. They block everything unless you hit them with the Bugs Bunny special and appear directly behind them, kinda like we did with the Scorpion Sentinel, which is unfortunate because it's still way too soon for war flashbacks. The problem is, the mod is clearly sentient and holds a personal grudge against me. It doesn't just buff enemy HP, it gives them behavioral therapy to make them as toxic as possible. Every time I get a breather, the mod pushes a button that says, nope, make them suicidal, and suddenly the dogs have the speed of a caffeinated cheetah. Eventually, they do go down, and we pick up Materia for beginners, which is funny that the game just watched me spend my life fighting a giant robot scorpion, patted me on the back and said, good job, buddy, you learned what a Materia does. The chapter boss is the Huntsman, though calling him a boss is generous at best. He's basically one of those riot shield enemies, but with health insurance. Get behind him, hit him really hard, repeat until dead. That gives us Cloud's first manuscript, meaning our manifesto's coming along nicely. We hop a train, and Chapter 2 closes out with Escape Artist. Honestly, after Chapter 1, Escape Artist is the most accurate achievement name so far. Better believe I want to go get the milk right now. Replaying the first 2 chapters with this mod was actually harder than hard mode. Less HP, MP, enemies that refuse to die. I say that not to complain, I say it so you understand the kind of psychopath you're watching. Luckily, Chapter 3 is finally a breather. 5 achievements with 2 being missable. And most importantly, absolutely no giant robot scorpions. We meet back up with Tifa and immediately ask for our paycheck. Shockingly, she doesn't appreciate my entrepreneurial spirit. What she does give us is access to our next achievement. Music Collector needs 3 discs. 1 in 7th Heaven, 1 from an NPC with absolutely horrific music tastes, and 1 from an item shop. 3 discs later, we're officially collectors. Barret also ends up crashing out because Marlene's afraid of us.
Hey! The hell you think you're doing, scaring my daughter like that?
Like, Jesus Christ, Barret, it's not like I came into this bitch like, stupid dog! But rock on, man. Anyhow, Tifa hands us 500 gil and says thanks for the work, but don't expect much money again, because I'm broke as hell and the rent on this place ain't cheap. That night, Cloud gets another Sephiroth vision because apparently he's subscribed to the Asshole in My Head premium package. Fun fact, this mountain scene's actually referencing the original FF7. A lot of people hate that, but I'm not here to debate the remake versus the original. The OG isn't going anywhere. Go enjoy it. We unlock weapon upgrades here, which is a fucking blessing because every enemy in this mod has the durability of a Nokia phone. Cloud also gets triple slash, which is basically the universal solution to any problem involving multiple enemies. More importantly, Tifa joins the party.
You're gonna feel this one!
Tifa is absurd. Her stagger is ridiculous, her damage borderlines on criminal, and she generates ATB like she's printing it in her garage. There's a reason people love this character. Absolutely S tier, and I'm not just saying that because I love women who can break my legs. No wonder she's in Street Fighter. We'll also get to meet Chadley, and as fucking annoying and obnoxious as he is, he's going to be handing us achievements like crack later. To start working on those, we'll need to scan enemies, and this would be a simple undertaking, but my skull might as well be a coconut because this bitch is empty. So you remember it, because I absolutely won't. Chadley is also the materia dealer, developing new materia exclusive to the remake, and they are so damn good, we'll definitely be taking advantage of them. Before we move this along, we need to go find some cats for this little girl, and Cloud said it best.
This sucks.
But hey, gotta start somewhere. Our next achievement comes from mastering Tifa's starter weapon. Tifa's starter gloves are nearly maxed out going into our second quest, which means this rat fight is doing double duty. We're clearing vermin and watching for the moment her weapon tips over and unlocks my first ability and her dive kick permanently. There is one more we need to be on the lookout for here in this chapter, and that's the Johnny experience. Johnny, a man whose greatest talent is talking more shit than Ryuji. Cloud threatens to kill him, but Tifa decides that we probably shouldn't do that. Why do we care? Because we unlock the first step towards the Johnny experience, an achievement that requires us tracking this idiot throughout the entire game. So congratulations, he's both of our problems now. By heading back to 7th Heaven, we can start working on our next achievement. Avalanche discusses their next mission while I play some darts. Wedge has the highest score right now, and I'm gonna take that personally. For beating his score in this quite frankly easy minigame, we become a heavenly dart player. Then a creepy ghost shows up and history needs to change again for some reason. So instead of joining Avalanche for the next mission, we get paid and shown the door. We'll take our feelings out on some goons on our way out before Jesse swings by with an invitation, and that's Mercenary Endeavors closing out Chapter 3. And hey, since we're unlocking achievements, go ahead and unlock that subscribe button too. Cheapest Chivo in the whole video. I'm trying to get to 50k and your support's the only way I can do that. Well, Jesse's got another job for us. Apparently breaking into a Shinra facility starts with robbing her Mako poisoned dad, which somehow isn't even the most questionable thing Avalanche has asked me to do this week. Better yet, our next achievement wants us to play this entire section almost perfectly. Fantastic. But despite all that, this chapter absolutely deserves some praise. So let's play a little game of the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good? The motorcycle section. I've been waiting for this since I played the original, and holy shit does it deliver. The chase never lets up, the Jesse and Cloud banter works so well, and Roche makes his grand entrance. He's another soldier with a giant sword whose hobbies include speeding, attempted murder, and whatever the hell Cirque du Soleil is doing these days. This entire sequence rules. The bad news is that this achievement took about 7 attempts because the game kept inventing new ways to tell me no. The challenge is simple. Finish the bike section with at least 80% HP, which sounds easy enough, except one run didn't count because I used a checkpoint. Another somehow failed despite me having way over 80% HP, and eventually the game just decided I'd suffered enough and gave me the achievement anyways. I'll gladly take the Biker Boy achievement and Jesse's little kiss on the cheek. I mean, can you blame her? Have you seen Cloud lately? Oh right, the ugly. Guys, it's a joke. Chill the fuck out. Stealing Jesse's dad's ID turns out to be surprisingly easy. Everyone distracts their parents while I casually stroll into their bedroom and commit a light felony. Then, we perform an interpretive dance to distract the Shinra guards while Jesse steals blasting agent for our next reactor.
Did somebody say boo?
Not yet. We're getting there. Surprisingly, this section wasn't bad. At level 15, I'm basically overqualified for bullying Shinra security. Everything dies pretty quickly until we're both double teamed by sweepers. Please, don't take that sentence to the gutter. Luckily, Jesse gave us the Ifrit materia beforehand, meaning we're one summon away from another Chivo, so we'll summon literal Fire Satan, earn my first summon, and watch him solve most of our problems. They're a lot like the summons from FF15, except now they're actually useful without turning every fight into a feature-length film. Roche shows up again on 2 feet this time and challenges us to a duel, and man, this guy has exactly 2 personality traits. Motorcycles and gay. Are we sure this isn't me? The fight itself is just like a One Piece episode because he spends half of it on a filler walk towards us, and the second he gets within range, it's one counter attack before he hits the floor. I swear I took more damage here trying to style on him than he actually dealt to me. Afterwards, he peels off, presumably satisfied, and so do we. This is where the remake really started to win me over though. Cloud starts opening up to Jesse, Biggs, and Wedge, and even cracks a smile once in a while. Jesse's flirting is still relentless, whether it's genuine or part of the act, I honestly don't care because their chemistry is fantastic, though I doubt Cloud would agree. We also get another appearance from the spooky hooded ghosts. This time Jessie hurts her leg, meaning we have to take her place on the next reactor mission and earn a night on the town. Chapter 5 is where things finally start punching back. Not scorpion levels of pain, but enough to make me miserable. There's only one achievement here, so let's keep it moving. We jump off the train, head through the subway, and immediately discover that Midgar's public transportation was designed by a raccoon in a filing cabinet. The worst room has 2 rocket launchers and 2 flamethrowers, which means blocking barely matters, dodging still does nothing, and Cloud's face is looking a lot like a pincushion. The only strategy I found was letting Tifa and Barret bully the flamethrowers while Cloud emptied his retirement fund casting Fyros. If anyone stood back up, we died. Again, great game by the way. Right after that comes the Crab Warden. Who the fuck designed these things? Dr. Eggman? Why are they all animals? It's definitely not as bad as our Chapter 1 boss, but unfortunately, my teammates were determined to make up that difference. Every phase introduced a new way to waste my time. First it locks onto us, then it summons friends, and finally it electrifies the floor because apparently OSHA doesn't exist in Midgar at all. The best part is whenever the boss locked onto somebody, I'd hide them safely behind a crate and they'd immediately wander back into the line of fire like they were competing for the Darwin Award.
Hi, how are you?
The answer to every phase was basically the same. Survive long enough for Cloud to empty his MP bar, summon Ifrit, let Tifa beat the ever-loving shit out of everything in her face, and just have Barret contribute emotional support with a machine gun. After praying my allies don't cosplay lightning rods, eventually this thing will fall apart, proving that every plan survives exactly 5 seconds after meeting me. And we earn Plan E. Or that's what I would say if I hadn't forgot to assess this boss. Coconut brain, remember? That's on you for not reminding me. Steven. Don't know why I thought I could manage a bestiary when I can barely remember to breathe while dodging, so back I went. I swear I would have quit here, but if I stop now, the mod wins, and I refuse to let a bunch of broken lines of code have the last laugh. Chapter 6 is pretty quiet, just 2 achievements and 1 industrial fan that's keeping me away from a sexy summon Materia. My first instinct is, I could probably tank it, but I'd like to keep all my fingers, so call me old-fashioned. I've heard a place called Warp Corp would be interested in that, but I'm not, so instead we do the sensible thing and shut the fan off first. Right at the end, the game locks us in a room and says, kill everything in 60 seconds. At this difficulty? Absolutely the fuck not. 2 turrets and a Queen Grass Strike are not dying that fast. Luckily, the game plans for failure. Leave the room, come back, and it replaces everything with 3 baby bugs, which we beat to death with the same ease as you punt a toddler into your neighbor's yard. They'll be fine. There's a pool. With that out of the way, we shut down the fan, grab the Chocobo and Moogle Materia for cleanup crew, and suddenly I've got a floating murder chicken and its emotional support Moogle. That feels like a sentence that should probably have context, but this is Final Fantasy, so it doesn't need it. We meet Biggs, pick up a grappling hook that has about a 90% chance of fucking me over later, and leave with lights out, which is fitting because I also feel emotionally unplugged at this point. Next up is In Lockstep. It's the same teamwork minigame from the OG, except this time we're just wiggling our stick instead of Tifa acting like we failed couples therapy because I couldn't press A on time. We also sell off enough junk to make the Resident Evil merchant cream himself.
I'll buy it at a high price.
Before the boss, we get to sabotage the Airbuster by stealing parts off the assembly line, otherwise the only thing getting busted is my ass. I always take the AI course here because I like imagining this thing spends the whole fight looking at a forklift and wondering if it's Cloud. The bombs only come out after the finger laser from the AI cores, and the M units allegedly do something, but I couldn't tell you what. They feel like the placebo button in an elevator. After bullying an entire shift's worth of Shinra employees, our assault gets broadcasted across Midgar. The remake changes things a little here too, so instead of confronting us in person, President Shinra and Heidegger hide behind holograms, which is probably smarter, but I don't like it. I want to bust in his skull for the Tootsie Roll Center. Then it's time for the Airbuster, another giant robot and another health bar the size of Texas. The fight starts off actually manageable enough. The party gets split up, we chip away at its health, and for about 30 seconds I think, maybe this won't be so bad. Then the Airbuster remembers it's the boss, and suddenly it's spamming this big fuck-ass laser that my AI teammates keep standing in front of like moths to a porch light. This shit one-shots them like Special Beam Cannon does to Raditz. As if the laser wasn't enough, it starts throwing stun bombs using a flamethrower which my allies once again can't help but stand inside. Aren't they great? It's like they're competing for who can eat the most glue in special ed.
But I'm not done yet.
Why the fuck not? He rips off his own hands that'll grab you and drag you into the laser. Luckily, Barret brand healthcare is even better than Switzerland, or I'd have thrown in the towel. Just when I thought I'd gotten into the groove, it flies. Because of course it flies, meaning that Barret gets promoted to main character because he's the only one who can actually hit the damn thing. So I switched over and dumped approximately 11,492 bullets into its chassis and waited for it to come down so Tifa could remind it why fists are an effective negotiation tool. I also decided to invite Ifrit to the gangbang for good measure. The end of the fight comes down to Airbuster picking one person and deciding they can no longer deserve to exist. Most of the time that was Cloud. So this devolved into how many times can we legally revive Cloud before the Geneva Convention gets involved. I died more here than the rest of the fight combined, but every trip to the floor filled our limit gauge, so after enough revives to qualify Barret as a licensed paramedic, we finally had enough firepower to put this oversized toaster out of my misery and earn trapped like sewer rats. And of course, Cloud falls the same way as he did in the OG, except now we have a grappling hook! Okay, well, we had a grappling hook. Good job, Biggs. This chapter begins with us completely botching the raise the roof move, instead crashing right through it, landing in an oddly placed flower bed, and looking up to see an angel. Okay, it's Aerith. Close enough. This is where the game kind of slams the brakes, but first we have to deal with Reno. He isn't difficult. This is probably the only boss that doesn't feel like it got buffed by the power of 4 middle fingers. I just don't want to hurt his cute face. I'm just saying, meow. Unfortunately, the spooky timeline ghosts are back, so we do what any reasonable person would do. And just like that, we're out of the church. Aerith joins the party, and anybody who says she's bad needs to wake up because you're clearly asleep.
Don't give up now, you guys.
This is the Aerith glazing section, and I swear to God, get your mind out of the gutter. She gets Arcane Ward, which allows for us to double cast spells, and that's already insane. When you throw Synergy on her though, she suddenly launches spells every time someone else uses an ability. Using Tifa? Congratulations, Aerith has now become an Orbital Strike. Tifa punches someone, Aerith launches a spell, and the enemies explode faster than you can say fuck you, Chadley. Speaking of that little gremlin, Chadley immediately shows up and asks us to put on the Oculus Quest to fight Shiva. The fight wasn't hard, but it was 40 minutes of her slowly floating backwards the entire fucking time. Every time I get within range, she'd drift another 6 inches away. It felt like I was an elderly grandmother chasing teenagers off her lawn yelling, "You get back here, young lady!" By the end of the fight, I wanted Zack to help me swing the Buster Sword directly into Chadley's forehead. The reward for all my trouble is the Shiva Materia. It kinda blows donkey dick. We'll give it to Aerith for the slight damage increase to her magic, but honestly, I think making Aerith cry would probably increase her magic damage more than Shiva does. Fuck you, Chadley. You're getting missile drop kicked. As for our quests, this chapter is mostly filler, so let's knock out some side quests. First up is helping Aerith pick flowers for the local orphanage, which unlocks Say It With Flowers. Personally, I was hoping we'd arrange them into the words "fuck you, Chadley," but apparently that's not an option. I also got robbed. I looked up this section beforehand and everybody said pick 2 green flowers to unlock a cool cactuar mural. I did that and I got the chocobo mural. It looks like somebody sneezed paint onto the wall. I'm salty, okay? Next, we head into an alley full of children. Officer, I swear it's not weird. I just want to show them my glowing balls. Instead of admiring my balls though, they make me destroy some boxes in a minigame. Fortunately, this one's easy. Just hit the Punisher mode and mash buttons to get Crate Annihilator, which is our last non-story related achievement for this chapter. On the way back, we get jumped by Rude, and this fight is so good. The chapter itself is kind of a slog, but the boss fights are great. Rude isn't difficult, but seeing Cloud smirk after he breaks Rude's sunglasses and then Rude's phone going off with the victory theme that they did in Advent Children 2, I'm just happy they kept the bit. Afterwards, we finally make it back to Aerith's house where her mom politely tells us to get the ever-loving fuck away from her daughter. Honestly, that's kind of fair. You can tell she doesn't want Aerith getting attached to another soldier after what happened to Zack. Unfortunately for her, Aerith has already decided that she's going to get introduced to a sword later, so she sneaks off and we aren't reunited. This chapter is achievement dense but story light. We meet Chocobo Sam, who's basically a cowboy con artist with a fantastic voice, but then we meet Madam M, who I am not looking at even slightly respectfully. In fact, I am drooling violently. Holy mommy. Huh? Aerith? Never heard of her. You want me to fight in the arena? At your command. Before we get to the chapter boss, Chadley appears once again to remind me that God has abandoned Midgar. This time he wants us to fight Fat Chocobo. Thank Christ you can bring Aerith, because genuinely you have no idea how fucking stupid this is. This bird not only has a cutscene attack that will kill us because I can't dodge when it freezes time to attack me, but it starts summoning cactuars, tomberries, and bombs. These little bastards have enough health to survive a nuclear strike and enough damage to recreate one. Every attempt took forever. The bird would flatten me, the bombs would burn my pubes off, and Aerith would try to hug the boss only to get turned into bird feed. How'd you come up with this one, Devs? Did your last session with your dominatrix not crush your balls enough? I get that this is a role-playing game, but I didn't realize I was role-playing the fucking victim. Seriously, fuck this goddamn fat c***. When I finally won, I wasn't even happy, excited, or proud. I was just relieved. Look at this. I have no MP. No resources, Aerith is dead, and my health bar is one strong breeze away from disappearing. Whoever designed this fight Get therapy. After recovering from my bird-related trauma, we finally reached the actual chapter boss, the Hell House. People online had me convinced that this thing was Satan's summer home, but it's really not. The fight is basically a nice, easy game of color matching. We drop Arcane Ward with Aerith, red window gets ice, green window gets lightning, so on and so on. We just repeat until the Haunted Zillow listing explodes. If you think this boss is hard, you probably shouldn't be playing this game on anything above Little Baby mode. While Madame M works on Aerith's dress, we knock out a few more achievements, the first up being Sultan of Squat, which sounds way more impressive than it actually is. We have to out-squat Mr. Alejandro Saab himself, who is the voice actor behind this NPC that we squat against, and I am a big fan. After that, Aerith shows up wearing the best dress because we did all the side quests. What can I say? Completionism wins the day again. Then it's finally time for the Honeybee Inn. In the original game, Cloud ended up surrounded by buff, sweaty men in a bathtub. This time though, we dance. This reminded me of the endings of Drakengard 1 and 3, but like 30,000 times easier, and I gotta say, today's date is June 30th, and this is still the gayest thing I've seen all month. I mean, Cloud is totally into this, and so am I. I mean, hell, Andrea could get me to swoon if he dipped me like that. Anyways, we perfect the dance minigame, earning Dancing Queen and unlock Cloud's dress. Honestly, he rocks it. This also earns us Snappy Dresser for collecting all 3 dresses for our lovely ladies. Yes, I'm including Cloud in that too. The final achievement is just for chapter completion, so we infiltrate Don Corneo's mansion, rescue Tifa, get made deeply uncomfortable by Don for the 2nd time in my life.
Don't be shy, little kitten. Shimmy on over and give Daddy some sugar.
And immediately get thrown into the sewers because apparently we are never the bride. You know, escaping into the sewers is certainly one way to get out of a bad situation. Unfortunately, I just got this dress, god damn it. Thankfully, the next 4 chapters only have 1 achievement each, so we're gonna breeze right through them. First up is Abzu, and honestly, I thought this fight was gonna be miserable. Instead, I rebuilt Tifa around ATB, combos, and becoming Sonic the Hedgehog.
You're too slow!
The parry Materia lets us cancel attacks, slip through enemy swings with a few precious iframes. She's already so fast the bullets can barely keep up with her. As long as Cloud and Aerith are healed and force-fed antibiotics when they drink sewer water, we're good. After beating up Midgar's version of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, we get some nice character growth between Aerith and Tifa, learn that Aerith already knows the plate's gonna fall, and clean up the chapter with Sewer Survivor. Another chapter, another Chivo, eh? And unfortunately, this chapter fucking sucked. Half of it is just Tifa stopping every 30 seconds to remind us that we have to hurry. Alright then, quit stopping to tell me that. Our first boss is Ghoul, and this guy is just boring. He has the move Incorporeality, and Aerith just becomes the only person that's capable of hurting it because it requires us to hit it with magic damage. Which means I get about 2 attacks before getting smacked into next Tuesday like his name was fucking Slickback. And then after this, the ghostly shenanigans are still here because Joker comes out with Eligor, and will you get the fuck out of here? This fight is basically the exact opposite problem as the last one. He keeps casting Reflect on himself, so magic becomes a terrible idea. While those giant chariot wheels constantly shove us backwards every time I try to hit him. It's a cool fight until the mod triples his health. I even made it to the final phase 3 times before dying and having to redo the entire thing over again. Fun times. Fun times. Then I realized I'd forgotten to steal Aerith's bladed staff, so I loaded my save and had to fight him again. We need every weapon for another achievement, so missing this would have fucking blown. It was quite refreshing to watch Tifa kick this thing in the mouth shouting, "Go to hell." And with that, we'll earn Paranormal Investigator. The dreaded Heartbreak chapter of FF7. 1 Chivo, so this will be the story getting fleshed out more. The remake does so much more with Avalanche than the original ever did. Wedge survives long enough to actually help us evacuate citizens this time around, and we finally get to see Aerith rescue Marlene. Cloud actually gets to spend time with Biggs and Jesse before, well, you know, instead of feeling like a couple of NPCs disappearing, they actually feel like people now. And honestly, this chapter hit me way harder than the original ever did. Unfortunately, Shinra still has to remind everyone why they're cartoonishly evil, so it's boss time. Rude and Reno are our bosses this time around, and while Reno got a massive glow up, back in the church it was easy going, no big deal. This time though, he ripped a rail of white lightning and bath salts because I can barely see this motherfucker. Meanwhile, Rude's in a helicopter like he's calling in a kill streak, peppering us with bullets. Luckily, Tifa is just as fast as Reno now, so I spend the last phase of the fight sprinting around the arena like I was qualifying for the Indy 500 while Cloud and Barret slowly chipped them down. Once Reno finally dropped, Rude wasn't far behind. Of course, the timeline ghosts show up again to make absolutely sure this plate falls. And this scene really annoyed me. You're telling me that Barret couldn't shoot the terminal or Rude or literally anything? There's about 1.5 million things that could have been done to stop this tragedy, and yet nothing. Fucking dumb. At least we got to save a few innocents before we witnessed the collapse. This chapter is totally new. Instead of rescuing Aerith, we go back to Sector 7 and assess damages to find that Wedge is still alive. I really wanted to like this chapter, I really did. But we play as Barret most of it, and a kitten is stronger than Barret at this point. Eventually we'll get to reunite with Tifa and things will get a lot smoother, but for the first like 30 minutes of this chapter, sitting there shooting at dogs for like 10 minutes apiece when I can barely stay alive for like 5 seconds is not a fun time. It takes 2 limit breaks just to get through the dog sections. This was genuinely the first time in the game where I decided, you know what, I'm gonna run forward. I'm gonna ignore this fight and I'm not looking back. At the end of the chapter, we'll fight the failed experiment, and it's not a hard boss, it's just tedious again because all we really have is Tifa, the track star, and the mini gun. I just dodged and poked it down until it died. There really is nothing to see here. This chapter as a whole just kind of blows. Still, we wrap everything up with broken dreams and finally move on. Sector 7 flattened, this feels like the perfect time to knock out the Yuffie DLC. Timeline wise, it happens while Cloud is busy taking a nap in Aerith's flower bed right up until the plate drops. Kind of a meanwhile situation. Yuffie's a blast to play. About halfway through the first chapter, she unlocks her synergy mechanic with Sonon, and once that comes online, the game basically turns into... Even with the difficulty mod, this DLC was an absolute cakewalk. The story's pretty straightforward. Yuffie's working with the main Avalanche cell to steal the ultimate materia from Shinra. Nice and simple. So let's start with Turtle-tastic for our first achievement. If you remember collecting Turtle Paradise flyers in the original, guess who's back? Same idea, just with better music this time around. The flyers are scattered all around Sector 7 and they really don't take much effort to find. The only achievement that actually put up a fight was Game Set Master and Condor Queen, which means playing Fort Condor again. Somehow, they fixed it. I wasn't expecting much, but it's actually fun to play this time around. The only real problem is Chadley. Obligatory, fuck you Chadley. Because he's the final opponent and cheats like it's his full-time job. He deploys units so quickly, you'll get buried unless you embrace your inner Mr. Burns.
Release the hound.
Ignore everything, rush the towers, and suddenly the Grandmaster ain't looking so grand anymore. After that, it's just story progression until the Gigantopede, and when I first saw another bug boss, my enthusiasm disappeared immediately. Thankfully, this fight ended up being way more fun than I expected. Once I remembered to actually use Yuffie and Sonon's synergy attacks, the stagger bar completely melts. The biggest annoyance was the drones constantly pelting us with missiles, but Yuffie's perfect parry lets us negate all of it. Turns out 100 hours of Sekiro finally paid off. That'll wrap up Chapter 1 with Takes 2 IDs to Tango. Chapter 2 has our other 4 achievements, so let's get through this thing. We break into Shinra HQ, immediately get bullied by Scarlet, and fight through what was honestly a tougher mob section than most of the bosses before reaching the soldier training facility. Our first achievement in this chapter comes from maxing out the combat simulator score. Unlike Cloud's box-breaking nightmare, this challenge actually taught me how Yuffie's kit works. And on a side note, her shuriken lock-in gives me cancer. Still, we clear it, earn some useful materia, and more importantly, unlock Materia Maven. While we're talking about Shinra's training bullshit, we can also fight the Pride and Joy Mark 0.5 here to earn Ultimate Weapon 2.0. I have almost nothing to say about this fight. I don't even have footage for it, so trust me bro, it wasn't that hard using Yuffie. Then it's time to knock down the 2 final bosses. First up is the conniving bitch herself, Scarlet, who really wasn't that hard. though I might be. She's honestly pretty easy. We just wait until she's not shooting, beat the fuck smack out of her, and ignore Sonon dead on the ground. He went in too hard. Nero, on the other hand, what the hell happened to this guy? Is this what listening to MCR does to a person? Apparently, if you listen to enough Sleeping with Sirens, you unlock godhood. Most of the fight is surprisingly tame. He barely moves, doesn't really have much health, and then right before he dies, he drops this gigantic field that slurps up HP like a smoothie. The first time, I had no idea it was coming, got slurped up like a Dr. Pepper through a crazy straw. And the second time, I forgot that healing was important and I had 4 HP when I entered this phase. The third attempt though, full health, Sonon alive, and everything lined up perfectly. Nero lasted maybe, 11 seconds before exploding like a blood-filled balloon. With that, the fighting's over until Sonon, gets got. I didn't see that coming. Yuffie bolts out of there and watches the plate fall, and our intermission is over and we are out of Darkness's clutches and on to the road to revenge. The ending after the credits goes heavy on spoilers for later, so we'll pretend that none of that happened. Let's get back to Cloud. Before we can storm Shinra HQ, there's one last pile of loose ends to clean up. First up is Whack-A-Box Wunderkind, otherwise known as Break-A-Box 2 Electric Boogaloo. I couldn't tell you what changed. I did the exact same thing as last time, smashed every box in sight and walked away with another achievement. After that, we've got a little shopping list to finish, starting with the Johnny experience. Poor Johnny got his wallet stolen, so our solution is to go absolutely scorched earth until we get it back. Since we're already in Wall Market, we'll stop by the Coliseum and knock out the special matches along with the Don Corneo battles and earn Returning Champion. I could have grabbed this one much earlier, but I was already here, so 2 birds, 1 arena. Better yet, we unlock our second tier limit breaks here, which will come in handy very soon. While we're waiting to return Johnny's wallet, we'll stop by the gym and have Tifa beat these guys off the pull-up bar because we're about to get peerless of pull-ups. This was honestly tougher than I expected. Another rhythm minigame, but after about 7 attempts I realized my biggest enemy wasn't the button prompts, it was the goddamn gym bros in the back of their fragile masculinity shouting bullshit at me. I muted the character voices and suddenly I gained the ability to function. Finally, we head back to Johnny, wallet in hand, and wrap up the Johnny experience. With the side quests finished, it was finally time to do what every Final Fantasy player eventually has to do. Grind! I pushed everyone to around level 40 before paying another visit to our favorite pint-sized parasite, Chadley. Fuck you, Chadley. At this point, I don't even know if I mean it anymore. It's just muscle memory every time he appears on screen. I'm sorry. To finish the final battle intel reports, Chadley throws Leviathan and Bahamut at us, which, to be fair, is about as fair as asking someone to fistfight a freight train. Thankfully, all the grinding paid off. Bahamut still hits like a truck, but this time I had enough damage to actually keep up. After panic healing through what felt like an endless barrage of attacks, we finally put the dragon down and unlock Intelligence Agent. With Chadley's homework finally finished, we meet up with Leslie, who leads us on one last trip through the sewers, while Don Corneo decides he's suddenly got somewhere else to be. Naturally, that means fighting Abzu again. The good news is we're so much stronger now that this is actually a fun rematch instead of a slog. On the way out, we'll pick up Divine Gratitude for completing every side quest in a single playthrough, earning ourselves another elemental materia in the process. After that, there's nothing left to do but climb up to the ruins of Sector 7, prepare for the end game, and finish the chapter with picking up the pieces. This one was really cool. You get to see the destruction of Sector 7 from the plate instead of just from below like we did in the OG. There aren't really any Achievos to grab here, but this was a nice lore chapter. The boss here was also kind of fun to use a laser attack against to break its barrier, and I really want to talk more about this chapter, but no achievements, so we'll just move on with the chapter completion for the pizza in the sky. Chapter 16 is also pretty light on achievements, but we do pick up Disc Jockey after tracking down the final music disc and completing our collection. Congratulations, we've officially started a new career as Midgar's worst DJ. Beyond that, this chapter plays out almost exactly like the original. The biggest change is that Mayor Domino isn't here to just give riddles and actually helps Avalanche infiltrate Shinra headquarters. It definitely gives him a lot more personality than he had before. The chapter boss also goes down without much trouble this time, so there really isn't much to say here. We'll wrap things up with no appointment needed, finally meet Red Rocket, and then immediately discover he's only here as a guest party member because Square apparently hates fun. He's awesome, we just don't get to play as him yet. Chapter 17 picks up right where we left off, and this is where we clean up most of the remaining achievements. And here comes Chadley to drop his pants and shit all over our day yet again. Hey Cloud! You have a bunch of Shinra trials you have to do. Fuck you, Chadley. I'm gonna concede the mod likely made these worse than they are, but they were such a miserable slog that I ended up cutting most of them out of the VODs because YouTube only accepts 12-hour videos. Blame them, not me. Thankfully, we can knock out several achievements at once here. We bring an enemy skill Materia with us into the Marlboro fight to learn our final enemy skill for Master of Mimicry, immediately beat the ever-loving shit out of the oversized cabbage for That's the Smell, and then use Tifa's True Strike to push an enemy stagger gauge past 300 and unlock staggering feat. While we're trapped in Chadley's little torture chamber, we also clean up Ultimate Weapon. The Pride and Joy prototype itself isn't actually that bad. The real boss is having to fight every single summon beforehand. By the time the giant robot showed up, I was honestly just relieved I was fighting something new trying to kill me. Then came Vice. Holy shit. This wasn't just the hardest fight in the game, it wasn't even close. Weiss never gives you a second to breathe. Fighting him feels like getting thrown into a blender while someone just keeps hitting that puree button every time you think about trying to escape. Thanks to the mod, we were also doing about 14 damage a hit. I had to look up this fight by people who actually did the mod previously to see if it was even possible. Eventually, I gave up recording attempts because my hard drive was filling up with nothing but failure and started practicing off camera instead. About 50 minutes later, I actually beat him. We unlock Corruptor the Immaculate and get on my knees to beg for no more difficulty mods. If I ever have to relive this, I might be stopping by Home Depot aisle 8. With Chadley's crimes against humanity finally behind us, it's time to deal with Hojo. While making our way through the lab, we grab Cloud's final weapon and more importantly, the ability Counter Stance. This thing is ridiculous. From this point forward, if somebody even looks in Cloud's direction, they're basically volunteering to get punched in the mouth. Since it's our final weapon ability, we'll also unlock Weapon Expert. Eventually, we'll make it to the top of Shinra headquarters, where President Shinra is hanging off the edge of the building. Personally, I would have let Gravity finish the job. Why Tifa and Aerith bothered stopping Barret is beyond me. Unfortunately, I don't get much time to think about that before Sephiroth shows up, turns the President into a fine red mist, and immediately skewers Barret.
Barret!
That kicks off the fight with Genova Dreamweaver. At first, I hated this fight, but once I realized the whole gimmick was constantly swapping between party members instead of tunneling on Cloud, it became one of my favorite fights in the game. Aerith takes another MVP trophy with Arcane Ward, Cloud starts bullying everything with Counter Stance, and Tifa punches reality itself. Genova goes down without too much trouble. The timeline ghosts revive Barret because death is just a suggestion if the plot says so, and we move on to another fantastic fight against Rufus. This one is a duel relying almost entirely on well-timed counters, while Rufus does his absolute best anime douchebag using dueling arts impression. There honestly isn't much to explain here, it's just a really cool fight. The game immediately follows that with another boss, because old school RPGs believe 5 bosses in a row is a fun time. Enter the Arsenal. I didn't think it was possible to make a boss fight feel like cock and ball torture, but here we are. Once more, the mod likely made this worse on me, but given my experience, I have to say, this fucking blows. The shield drones alone took what felt like 20 minutes of flinging meat against the wall until it's covered with raw beef juice. Only then do you actually get to damage the boss. Miss one block and congratulations, you get to meet the live stream personally. After breaking this thing over and over again, it finally reached its last phase and started charging its giant fuck you beam. At this point, there's no strategy left. You either kill it first or you start the entire fight over. Thankfully, I'd been saving Barret's limit break and we had just enough damage to finish it before the laser fired, because if I had to replay this fight, this video would have ended right there. Instead, Cloud rolls in on his bike, Tifa arrives in the truck, and we start doing some real action movie shit to escape Shinra HQ, rolling straight into the finale and emerging from chaos. The highway escape is still just as awesome as it was in the original. Even more so, honestly. I'll take tearing through Midgar on a motorcycle over getting my skull crushed by a big-ass mech any day. After one last boss, though, this is where the remake truly earns its name. Sephiroth appears and tears open a portal beyond destiny. He basically says, come fight fate itself. Unfortunately, this isn't a game show from 1998, so we can't double dare him back. Instead, the party collectively decides the destiny can go fuck itself and walks straight into the portal. Inside the singularity, the whispers merge together into the arbiter of fate. Gameplay-wise, it's a pretty straightforward cinematic boss, but I love this whole sequence. Counter Stance continues to bully everything unfortunate enough to swing at Cloud, and I'm honestly glad we didn't get it to the end of the game because it would have trivialized everything. The real highlight though is everything happening around the fight. We get flashes of the original game, Meteor falling towards Midgar, Red sprinting through the future, Cloud's final duel versus Sephiroth, and yes, Aerith getting aggressively ventilated. The entire section feels like the game winking at longtime fans before throwing the timeline completely out the fucking window. Once the Arbiter falls, Destiny officially breaks. We even get to see Zack's last stand from Crisis Core, except this time he doesn't become fertilizer. That's a pretty big clue that from this point forward, nobody, not even longtime fans, knows what's gonna happen anymore. Of course, before we can process any of that, Sephiroth decides it's his turn. Thankfully, after everything the mod is throwing at us, he's about a 5 out of 10 on the difficulty scale. That doesn't make it not cool as fuck though. One-winged angels blasting in the background, the constant cinematic transitions, it's just so fucking good. The only thing that isn't is that Sephiroth's limit break will one-shot us. So hey Tifa, congratulations, you're promoted to tank.
Wait, what?
No more games.
Get fired up!
Eventually, Sephiroth calls it quits and drops the line 7 seconds until the end and disappears before explaining what the hell that even means. With fate shattered, Zack survives his final encounter. Biggs somehow made it out alive, and while Jesse drew the short end of the straw, 2 out of 3 Avalanche members isn't exactly a bad turnaround. Yuffie heads off to eventually meet us, Cloud and the gang leave Midgar behind, and the stage is finally set for Rebirth. That also leaves us with our final batch of achievements. We unlock Destiny's Crossroads for finishing the story, along with Hardened Veteran for clearing every chapter on hard mode. The only loose ends left are the dresses, so we make one last trip back to Wall Market to complete Madame M's questline for Best in the Business, and collect every single dress for Dress to the Nines. Which, of course, gets us the last one, Master of Fate. Woohoo! We finally did it! Final Fantasy VII Remake Fake Hard Mode New Game is officially mission complete. I'll give the game a 4 out of 5 on our handy difficulty scale and also give this game my personal seal for being one of the best games I've played in a while. While longtime FF7 fans complain about the changes, I personally think Square nailed this game out of the park. Just wow. I mean, what more can I say? I loved this journey and I can't wait for Rebirth. And also, fuck you, Chadley. Just one for the road. If you've enjoyed yourself in this video, then please leave a like so YouTube knows to show it to more people, sub to the channel so you won't miss Rebirth and future projects like Kingdom Hearts, join our Discord if you want special privileges like occasional movie nights, and of course, shoutouts to my amazing supporters flying across your screen right now, Banjo, Anima, Yo, Lux, and Kuracap. You guys are the best, and you mean the world to me. With that all being said though, I hope to see you guys in the next one. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and bye-bye.